The Haunted Churches of Ireland. Ireland, a land rich in history, tradition, and intrigue, conceals a darker narrative beneath its tranquil landscapes and revered sites. This narrative is woven with restless spirits, tragic histories, and eerie encounters. In this exploration, we delve into some of Ireland's most haunted churches, where echoes of love, loss, and the supernatural resonate through time. These sacred spaces are not merely historical landmarks. They are repositories of souls who linger in the realm of the living. St. Michan's Church, Dublin. St. Michan's Church in Dublin stands as one of the city's most ancient and haunted locations, with a history that traces back to the 11th century. Renowned for its eerie underground crypts, where remarkably preserved mummies have been interred for centuries, this church attracts historians, tourists, and paranormal enthusiasts alike. However, it is not the mummies alone that contribute to the church's haunted reputation. It is the restless spirits believed to roam its grounds that captivate the imagination. One of the most notable hauntings associated with St. Michan's Church originates from its crypts. These limestone chambers create ideal conditions for mummification, leading to the final resting place for many of Dublin's elite. Visitors have reported encounters with ghostly figures in the corridors and crypts, enhancing the church's chilling atmosphere. A particularly famous apparition is referred to as the Crusader, thought to be one of the mummified individuals. Described as a tall, slender figure, he is said to wander the crypt's halls, casting an imposing presence over those who dare to explore. Legend has it that touching the Crusader's hand brings good fortune. However, many who have attempted this claim to experience an icy chill or hear disembodied whispers immediately afterward. Another focal point for paranormal activity is the organ loft, where the renowned composer George Friedrich Handel is believed to have played during his visit to Dublin in the 18th century. To this day, some assert that the haunting melodies of the organ can be heard late at night, despite the church being locked and void of visitors. One particularly eerie account involves a tourist who, while exploring the crypts, became aware of footsteps trailing behind them. Initially believing it to be another visitor, they turned to find no one there. The footsteps grew louder and more insistent, compelling the individual to exit quickly, overwhelmed by fear. St. Michan's Church, while a popular destination for tourists, continues to cultivate its haunted legacy. The spirits that are said to inhabit the crypts and corridors have become as integral to the church's narrative as the mummified remains themselves, offering a haunting glimpse into a past where the boundaries between the living and the dead appear to blur. St. Mary's Collegiate Church, Youghal, County Cork. St. Mary's Collegiate Church in Youghal, County Cork, is one of Ireland's oldest Christian sites, with roots extending back to the early 13th century. Throughout centuries marked by religious, political, and social turbulence, this church has garnered a reputation not only for its architectural splendour, but also for its spectral history. The spirits said to linger within its walls have inspired ghostly legends that have persisted through generations, ensuring that St. Mary's remains one of Ireland's most haunted ecclesiastical sites. In this rich tapestry of history and haunting, the churches of Ireland invite those brave enough to explore the intersection of the mortal and the eternal. One of the most intriguing legends associated with St. Mary's is that of a spectral priest, believed to have met a tragic fate within the church's historic walls. According to lore, during the tumultuous Cromwellian era of the 17th century, this priest steadfastly refused to abandon his congregation, undeterred by the perils of a besieged town. Ultimately, he was captured and executed within the church by Cromwell's troops. To this day, both locals and visitors assert they have witnessed the priest's apparition wandering the church grounds at night, his visage contorted in sorrow as if eternally reliving his demise. Eyewitnesses describe him in traditional clerical attire, his form faintly illuminated by moonlight. He is frequently spotted near the churchyard, the site of his last moments. Those who encounter him often report an abrupt drop in temperature, accompanied by an unsettling feeling of being observed. Some have even claimed to hear a gentle whisper, urging them to depart the area. Another well-known haunting at St. Mary's involves a figure referred to as the White Lady, believed to be the spirit of a bride who met a tragic end on her wedding day centuries ago. According to the tale, she was to be wed in the church, but on the morning of her nuptials, she was discovered dead under enigmatic circumstances. Her grief-stricken groom is said to have left the town in despair, never to return, leaving the church to mourn her loss. The White Lady has been sighted by both visitors and church staff, often appearing in the churchyard or near the altar where her wedding was to take place. Described as a pale and ethereal woman clad in a flowing white gown, those who have encountered her report that she glides silently through the church, vanishing as swiftly as she appears. Some have noted the faint sound of sobbing in her presence, which enhances the melancholic atmosphere surrounding her spirit. Visitors to St. Mary's Collegiate Church often express feelings of unease while traversing the ancient graveyard, with some describing the sensation of invisible hands brushing against them, including footsteps and whispers, even in the absence of any living souls. St. Mary's Collegiate Church remains a popular destination for tourists, yet its haunted reputation continues to attract those seeking encounters with the supernatural. The spirits are said to inhabit this venerable church, now part of Ireland's tumultuous history, where themes of love, loss, and tragedy resonate through the ages. The Black Abbey in Kilkenny. The Black Abbey in Kilkenny, one of the oldest Dominican priories in Ireland, carries its own rich history and spectral tales. Established in 1225, the Black Abbey is a religious strife, warfare, and profound sorrow dating centuries back. Although it continues to serve as a place of worship, this ancient church is also infamous for the spectral figures that are reputed to haunt its sacred grounds. Shukars. Among the most notable apparitions is that of a monk believed to have met his demise during the dissolution of the monasteries under King Henry VIII in the 16th century. As King Henry's forces ravaged Ireland, many religious institutions were dismantled, leading to the execution or exile of numerous monks. Legend has it that one monk, steadfast in his devotion, faced a violent end at the hands of these soldiers. His ghost is said to wander the abbey's corridors to this day. Witnesses describe this apparition as a tall, shadowy figure clad in the traditional robes of a Dominican friar, often seen near the altar where he is thought to have been praying at the time of his death. Encounters with this spirit evoke a profound sense of sorrow, suggesting that the monk continues to mourn the abbey's lost grandeur. His presence is frequently accompanied by a sudden drop in temperature, and some visitors have reported hearing faint chanting resonate within the empty church. The Abbey's graveyard is another focal point for paranormal activity, where visitors have observed strange lights hovering above the graves at night, along with the unsettling sounds of disembodied whispers. One particularly chilling account involves a local man who, while walking past the graveyard after dusk, encountered a group of shadowy figures among the tombstones. Mistaking them for fellow visitors, he approached only to see them vanish before his eyes. Disturbed by this experience, he later discovered that others had reported similar sightings in the area. Another haunting narrative from the Black Abbey involves a young woman who tragically lost her life in the 17th century. According to local lore, she was deeply in love with a man who ultimately deserted her just before their wedding. Heartbroken, she took her own life within the church's confines, and since that day, her ghost has been spotted wandering the abbey, draped in a white gown, her face a mask of sorrow. Visitors have reported glimpsing her ethereal figure near the church entrance and in the graveyard, with some claiming to hear her soft weeping as they pass by, while others have seen her standing near the altar, gazing into the emptiness of the church. Her poignant story has woven itself into the Abbey's haunted legacy, enhancing the air of mystery and melancholy that envelops the site. Despite its eerie reputation, the Black Abbey remains a sought-after tourist destination in Kilkenny, offering a window into Ireland's medieval past. For those intrigued by the supernatural, the ghostly inhabitants of the Abbey serve as a haunting reminder that not all souls achieve peace in death. St. Patrick's Cathedral. St. Patrick's Cathedral, in Armagh, is not only a significant religious landmark in Ireland, but also reputedly one of the most haunted locations. This magnificent Gothic cathedral, erected in the 19th century, is situated on a hill where Christian worship has flourished for over a millennium. While its soaring spires and exquisite interior attract visitors from around the globe, St. Patrick's Cathedral is also the backdrop for a multitude of ghostly encounters and peculiar phenomena that have left many feeling unnerved. Among the most renowned hauntings associated with St. Patrick's Cathedral is that of a spectral figure known as the Bishop. According to legend, this apparition is believed to be the spirit of a former bishop who served during the tumultuous 17th century, a period marked by significant religious strife in Ireland. The bishop was reputedly a staunch protector of the church, valiantly opposing those who sought to undermine its foundations. His death remains shrouded in mystery, with some accounts suggesting he was poisoned by rivals vying for his position. Witnesses have reported sightings of the bishop's ghost traversing the cathedral's aisles, adorned in traditional clerical robes and grasping a staff. Described as a tall and formidable figure, he reportedly moves silently through the cathedral, as if still guarding the sacred space. His spectral presence is often accompanied by the lingering aroma of incense and the faint sound of distant chanting, reminiscent of the faithful who once worshipped alongside him. Some individuals have even claimed to observe the bishop kneeling in prayer at the altar, only to vanish into thin air. Another eerie phenomenon associated with St. Patrick's Cathedral is the haunting of a spectral choir, which has been heard singing hymns during the quiet hours of the night. Despite the cathedral's stillness after hours, numerous accounts have emerged of ethereal voices rising in song, seemingly from an empty and locked building. This ghostly choir is thought to consist of the spirits of monks who inhabited the site long before the current structure was established. Their harmonies are said to reverberate through the cathedral's expansive chambers, sending chills down the spines of those fortunate enough to hear them. A particularly unsettling incident occurred in the early 2000s when a group of visitors reported witnessing a woman in antiquated attire seated in one of the pews, her head bowed and hands clasped in prayer. As they approached her, she inexplicably vanished before their eyes, leaving only the faint fragrance of flowers in her wake. Many believe this woman to be the spirit of a devoted worshipper who frequented the cathedral during its formative years, her essence forever linked to this sacred site. The cathedral's adjacent graveyard is also notorious for its paranormal activity, with visitors frequently recounting sightings of shadowy figures moving among the gravestones, particularly after dusk. These apparitions are thought to be the restless spirits of those interred in the cemetery, still roaming the grounds after centuries. One chilling account involved a groundskeeper who, while securing the cathedral late one evening, observed a figure clad in black approaching the entrance. When he called out to the figure, it vanished into the mist. While St. Patrick's Cathedral remains a revered site for worship and pilgrimage, its haunting legacy continues to flourish. The spirit said to inhabit its halls reminds us of the church's long and often tumultuous history. For those intrigued by the supernatural, St. Patrick's Cathedral harbours numerous secrets waiting to be unveiled. St. Molto Church. St. Molto Church is located in the historic coastal town of Kinsale in County Cork, stands as one of Ireland's oldest Christian sites, with origins tracing back to the 12th century. The ancient stone walls of St. Mo's Church stand as silent witnesses to centuries of history, encompassing conflicts, religious strife, and the tragic sinking of the RMS Lusitania off the coast of Cale during World War I. Beyond its rich historical backdrop, the church is equally noted for its reported paranormal activity. Numerous visitors have recounted encounters with ghostly figures and unsettling phenomena within its grounds. One of the most notable hauntings associated with St. Mo's Church is linked to a poignant narrative from the early 17th century. During the siege of Kinsale in 1601, the church served as a sanctuary for townspeople seeking refuge from the turmoil of war. Among them was a young woman who became separated from her family amidst the chaos and sought solace within the church, tragically never to be reunited with them. It is believed that she succumbed within its walls, either from her injuries or heartbreak, and her spirit has lingered ever since. Known as the Grey Lady, this ethereal apparition has been observed wandering the aisles of the church and the adjacent graveyard. Witnesses describe her as a pale figure clad in a flowing grey gown, moving silently with an expression of sorrow, as if eternally searching for her lost family. Both locals and tourists have reported a profound sense of melancholy in her presence, often accompanied by a sudden drop in temperature and a feeling of being watched. Another spirit said to inhabit St. Mo's Church is that of a former rector who served in the early 19th century. According to local legend, this rector was a strict and somewhat unpopular figure, known for his rigid enforcement of church doctrine. Following his death, it is said that his spirit refused to depart the church, with sightings of him pacing the aisles late at night, as if still overseeing his congregation. Descriptions of the rector's ghost often portray him as a tall, stern figure in traditional clerical attire. He has been spotted near the altar and in the church's bell tower, where visitors have reported hearing footsteps and the creaking of aged wooden stairs. One particularly eerie incident involved a solitary visitor who, while exploring the church, distinctly heard a man clear his throat behind him, only to find no one present, although the temperature had noticeably dropped. The graveyard of St. Mo's Church is also a focal point for paranormal occurrences, with visitors claiming to witness strange lights hovering above gravestones at night and the faint sound of distant voices carried by the wind. A particularly chilling encounter occurred in the early 2000s when a couple visiting the church after dark reportedly saw a group of shadowy figures among the graves. As they approached, the figures vanished into thin air, leaving the couple deeply unsettled. Despite its haunted reputation, St. Mo's Church remains a significant historical and religious landmark in Cale. Its ancient walls encapsulate the narratives of times long past, and for those intrigued by the supernatural, it offers the opportunity to experience the lingering echoes of those who once sought solace within its sacred space. St. Columba's Cathedral in Derry. St. Columba's Cathedral in Derry, Northern Ireland, stands as a prominent symbol of faith and history, intricately linked to the storied past of the city. Constructed between 1628 and 1633, it ranks among the oldest Protestant cathedrals in the country. St. Columba's is particularly renowned for its pivotal role during the Siege of Derry in 1689. The ancient walls of St. Columba's Cathedral has become a prominent site for ghostly encounters and paranormal phenomena. During the historic Siege of Derry, the city faced relentless assaults from Jacobite forces, subjecting its citizens to profound suffering. Many who lost their lives during this tumultuous period were interred in the churchyard of St. Columba's, and it is widely believed that their restless spirits continue to inhabit the cathedral grounds. One of the most frequently reported apparitions is that of a soldier, likely a Jacobite, who is thought to have died during the siege. Described as a tall, gaunt figure clad in 17th century military garb, he has been seen standing near the old cemetery, his expression vacant as he gazes into the distance. Some interpret his presence as a guardian of the cathedral, while others speculate that he seeks redemption for his lost cause. Witnesses often report a sudden drop in temperature, accompanied by an unsettling chill that envelops the area when he appears. Inside the cathedral, numerous accounts of eerie occurrences abound. Visitors and clergy have noted the sound of disembodied footsteps echoing through the empty church during late hours. These footsteps seem to trace a specific route along the nave, fading away near the altar. Some suggest that these sounds may belong to the ghost of a former bishop interred in the grounds, who is said to continue fulfilling his religious duties, even in death. The organ at St. Columba's has also attracted attention for inexplicable phenomena, with several reports of it playing autonomously in the dead of night without anyone at the keys. The music, often described as mournful, adds to the cathedral's already eerie ambience. Investigators have found the organ securely locked, with no evidence of tampering. The spectral activity extends to the cathedral's graveyard, where visitors have reported sightings of shadowy figures moving among the tombstones. Some have claimed to see a group of cloaked apparitions standing vigil by a specific grave, their faces obscured. These figures are said to vanish upon approach, leaving an unsettling aura of sorrow in their wake. Despite its haunted reputation, St. Columba's Cathedral remains a vital place of worship and a significant historical landmark. The spirits that wander its halls seem inextricably linked to the traumatic events of the past, particularly the Siege of Derry. For those daring enough to traverse its shadowy corridors, St. Columba's offers a poignant glimpse into an era where faith and conflict intertwined, leaving a legacy marked by both resilience and restless souls. St. Nicholas Collegiate Church. St. Nicholas Collegiate Church in Galway City, County Galway, stands as the largest medieval parish church still in continuous operation in Ireland. Established centuries ago, it has borne witness to a myriad of historical events, ranging from invasions and plagues to revolutions and rebellions. Alongside its rich historical significance, St. Nicholas has garnered a reputation as one of Ireland's most haunted churches, with numerous reports of strange occurrences and ghostly apparitions. One of the most notable spirits said to inhabit St. Nicholas is that of a Spanish sailor, believed to have been a crew member of a ship from the Spanish Armada that ran aground off the Irish coast in the 16th century. According to local lore, the sailor sought refuge in Galway, but his life was tragically cut short by execution. His restless spirit is thought to roam the church, wandering the aisles in search of peace. Witnesses describe him as a tall man with dark features, dressed in what appears to be 16th century naval attire, often observed silently traversing the church during the late hours of the night. In the hushed corridors of the St. Nicholas Collegiate Church, the faint echoes of footsteps resonate through its empty halls, while some visitors claim to hear soft whispers in Spanish, as if a restless spirit seeks to communicate, though its message remains elusive. Those fortunate enough to have glimpsed this apparition describe an aura of profound sorrow, suggesting that he continues to grieve the life he lost far from home. Another haunting tale associated with St. Nicholas centres on the enigmatic figure known as the Lady in Red. Frequently sighted near the altar, she is believed to be the spirit of a woman who tragically perished during childbirth within the church centuries ago. Her untimely demise left her husband heartbroken, and legend maintains that he never departed from her side. Witnesses report seeing her weeping near the altar, clad in a flowing red gown. Visitors often recount experiencing an intense chill or hearing soft sobs as they approach the area where she is most commonly seen. The church's graveyard is also rumoured to be the playground of spectral children, whose playful laughter can be heard resonating through the graveyard, especially on fog-laden evenings. Locals believe these ethereal children are the souls of those who succumbed during one of the many plagues that ravaged the region in medieval times, eternally frolicking among the gravestones, blissfully unaware of the passage of centuries. Despite these haunting narratives, St. Nicholas Collegiate Church remains a vibrant community hub, hosting various services and events throughout the year. For those intrigued by the paranormal, the church's ghostly residents provide a poignant glimpse into a past marked by tragedy and loss. Visitors wandering its aisles after dusk may find themselves in the presence of those who have long departed, yet linger in a state of unrest. Kentucky, St. Canice Cathedral, Kilkenny. Kentucky, St. Canice Cathedral stands as a stunning example of Gothic architecture dating back to the 13th century. Recognised as one of Ireland's most significant medieval churches, it has served as a site for worship, education, and political intrigue over the centuries. However, alongside its rich history, St. Canice is also noted for its supernatural phenomena, with numerous accounts of ghostly apparitions and peculiar incidents occurring within its ancient walls. One of the most frequently encountered phantoms is that of a former bishop whose spirit is said to haunt the cathedral. Local legend suggests that this bishop, deeply entangled in the political conflicts of his era, exploited his ecclesiastical position to manipulate local affairs. Posthumously, his ghost is believed to linger in St. Canice, possibly driven by remorse or a desire for atonement. Witnesses describe the bishop as a tall, imposing figure, garbed in dark clerical robes, often seen near the altar or traversing the nave, his face obscured by shadows. Encounters with this spectral figure are frequently accompanied by a sudden drop in temperature and an unsettling sense of being observed. Numerous individuals assert that they have experienced the sensation of soft footsteps trailing behind them while traversing the cathedral, only to turn and discover no one in sight. Among the renowned apparitions purported to haunt St. Canice's Cathedral is the spirit of a young choir boy who met a tragic fate in the 18th century. Legend has it that while practicing in the cathedral, an unfortunate accident led to his untimely death. His presence is often felt near the choir stalls where he once sang. Visitors frequently report hearing the faint echoes of a child's voice performing hymns despite the church's emptiness. Others claim to have glimpsed a small, shadowy figure flitting between the pews, as if the boy is endlessly rehearsing for a performance that will never occur. The cemetery surrounding the cathedral is also a hotspot for paranormal phenomena. Locals recount tales of shadowy figures moving among the gravestones, particularly during the colder months when fog rolls in from the adjacent river. One particularly unsettling incident involved a group of tourists exploring the graveyard late one evening. As they wandered among the tombstones, they observed what appeared to be a gathering of ghostly figures near an old family crypt. The figures vanished as they drew closer, leaving the group both shaken and eager to depart. Despite its haunted reputation, St. Canice's Cathedral remains a significant historical and religious landmark in Kilkenny. Its rich history and stunning architecture attract visitors from around the globe. For those intrigued by the supernatural, the spirits rumoured to linger within its walls offer a tantalising glimpse into a past steeped in mystery, tragedy and faith. Holy Trinity Church. Holy Trinity Church in Fethard is one of the oldest medieval churches in the region, dating back to the early Middle Ages. This church has witnessed centuries of worship, conflict and intrigue, echoing the stories of a bygone era. Alongside its storied past, Holy Trinity is also recognised for its supernatural occurrences, with numerous accounts of ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena. One of the most notable hauntings associated with Holy Trinity Church is that of a young woman who tragically died within its confines while preparing for her wedding. Just 2 days before her ceremony, she fell ill and passed away. Ever since, her spirit is said to wander the church, still clad in her wedding gown. Commonly referred to as the bride, she is often described as a pale, ethereal figure with long dark hair and a sorrowful demeanour. Sightings of her tend to occur near the altar, where she was to be wed, or as she slowly walks through the aisles, seemingly still in preparation for her long-awaited day. Some visitors report the soft rustling of her gown or faint sobs accompanying her presence, which is typically felt as a sudden chill and an overwhelming sense of sadness. The church's graveyard is also a scene of paranormal activity, with reports of strange lights hovering above the graves at night and the faint sounds of whispering voices in the darkness. One particularly eerie encounter involved a local man strolling through the graveyard one evening. As he passed by an old tomb, he heard the distinct sound of footsteps behind him. Upon turning around, he spotted a shadowy figure near the tomb, only for it to vanish as he approached, leaving him both shaken and bewildered. Additionally, another ghost believed to haunt Holy Trinity Church is that of a former rector, who is thought to have died under mysterious circumstances in the early 19th century. His untimely demise is suspected to have resulted from foul play following a bitter dispute with a local family. Witnesses claim to have seen his ghost pacing the aisles of the church late at night, as if still seeking justice for his premature end. Despite the eerie narratives surrounding it, Holy Trinity Church stands as a significant religious and historical landmark in Feth. Its ancient walls encapsulate centuries of history, and for those intrigued by the supernatural, the reputed spirits that inhabit the church provide insight into a realm where the boundaries between the living and the deceased often intertwine. St. Peter's Church in Dread, Kent. St. Peter's Church in Dread is an impressive Gothic revival structure that dominates the town's skyline, built in a time when architectural grandeur was paramount. While its stunning design and integral role in the community's spiritual life are noteworthy, St. Peter's Church is also known for its ghostly presence, linked to the spirits of its historical past. One of the most renowned hauntings at St. Peter's involves a former priest who served the community in the late 19th century. This priest, troubled during his lifetime by uncertainties regarding his faith and ministry, is said to have remained tethered to the church after his passing, unable to attain peace. Witnesses report encountering his apparition near the altar, where he dedicated countless hours to prayer. Described as a tall, slender figure, clad in traditional clerical attire, he is often observed kneeling in prayer or wandering the aisles during the quiet hours of the night. A particularly unsettling aspect of this haunting involves the ghostly sermons attributed to him. Several individuals have claimed to hear the faint echo of his voice delivering sermons from the altar in the stillness of the night, despite the church being devoid of any congregation. Some speculate that the priest's spirit continues to grapple with his doubts, perpetuating his ministry even in death. Another prominent figure among the spectral inhabitants of St. Peter's is known as the Widow. Local lore tells of a devoted parishioner who tragically lost her husband and children to a plague that ravaged the town in the 18th century. Bitsi. Grief-stricken, she spent her remaining years in fervent prayer at the church, yearning for a reunion with her family in the afterlife. Her spirit is frequently seen in the pew where she once prayed, her head bowed and hands clasped in devotion. Witnesses describe her as a frail, elderly woman garbed in black mourning attire. The churchyard of St. Peter's is not without its own share of paranormal phenomena. Visitors often report strange lights and shadowy figures flitting among the gravestones after nightfall. One particularly unnerving encounter involved a group of tourists exploring the graveyard late one evening, who spotted a figure cloaked in dark robes near an ancient family crypt. The figure vanished as they approached, leaving the group in a state of disquiet. Nonetheless, St. Peter's Church remains a vibrant centre of worship and community for the residents of Dread. Its ghostly residents seem to be intricately linked to the church's rich history, offering a glimpse into the lives of those who once prayed within its walls and whose spirits may still linger in search of solace. The churches of Ireland serve not only as places of worship, but also as portals to the past, where the echoes of those who once traversed their aisles continue to resonate. Whether it's the tragic bride, the wandering monk, or the mysterious voices heard in the dead of night, these haunted churches provide a compelling intersection of history and the supernatural. Nor, if you found this exploration of Ireland's haunted heritage intriguing, we invite you to like, share, and subscribe for more captivating tales. Always remember to stay curious and bold in your pursuits.